Niyati Chauhan, Assistant Professor at LG Institute of Engineering and Technology, Department of Instrumentation and Control. Our subject is Industrial Data Communication and Distributed Control System. Chapter 4, System Integration with PLC and Computers. So in today's session, we will discuss display features of supervisory control. Traditional analog controllers on the panel board are arranged in clusters of row or column. So here our meters connected as a row wise or column wise. In the DCS, controllers are usually arranged in group of 8, 12, 16 or 32 for screen displays in a one-dimensional horizontal arrangement or a two-dimensional matrix arrangement. If the same type of group display for DCS is used for a supervisory computer, calculation cannot be properly displayed to inform the operators. A typical example is the multi-input, multi-output control command from the supervisory computer to the lower loop in DCS. This type of control algorithm does not exactly fit the conventional single input, single output structure. Therefore, a new type display for multi-input and multi-output control display structure should be created. One of the simplest way to represent the information for supervisory strategy is to create a multi-input, multi-output control strategy display. Next, this display is shown in figure. So here you can see display is shown in screen. So in this screen, at top side input sources are available, tag 1, 2, 3 up to n. And here you can see output destination. So we have given tag A, B, C up to K. Okay, so upside input and here output. So here we can see multiple input, output and control strategy and live data. And here you can see operators console. Okay, so tag operator 1, 2 and 3. So here output destination. So we have a naming tag X, tag Y and tag Z. So next, alarm access architecture. There are several types of alarms for each process variable from the DCS including high, low, high, high, low, low and high rate of change and etc. This alarm will appear on alarm screen at the DCS operator console in chronological order with tag names, time of occurrence, magnitude of alarm variable and alarm limit and so on. So here first we have discussed different types of alarms variable are available in DCS. We are using condition for high, low and both high and low. Okay, so according to requirement. Thereafter, these alarms will appear on screen of operator's console. So we have to give name of tag names, right? So we can identify process. The alarm buffer can be created to accommodate the rest of alarms occurring in a short period of time. So here we have to create alarm buffer system, okay, in alarm access architecture. For supervisory computer, the alarm management program should be created differently in order to speed up the alarm access and to assist the alarm diagnostic operation. So here we can use for the operator pinpoint alarm cause and location. Process alarm information is required. Tag names belonging to an important process unit or equipment should be grouped to give alarm tag flag so that any individual alarm or alarms within that group can be identified logically. This will help speed of operators decision making when time is critical. Okay, so here at process running in our plant, so operator can easily take decision for the process. The alarm access architecture also can be grouped according to the geographical regions of the process plant or unit so that field operator can be informed. Means by control room console operator to take precautionary measures when necessary. So here alarm access architecture through we can group our different regions means different regions of the process plant or unit. So field operator can be informed to operators console. Then after next is voice input main machine interface. In process control, voice input and output can be an important method for conveying pertinent information about real-time process condition to the operator. Means voice input and output through we can provide information easily. The cause or location of alarms can be announced without viewing into the screen display, which clearly can be an advantage when the operator is away from the console. Okay. If operator is not available and when alarm condition occurs at that time it can be announced for alarm. When process variables are approaching an alarm limit, voice output can be generated to alert the operator of the impending alarm condition. Then after next is main machine interface MMI. One of the key reasons to integrate DCS with PLC and computers is to obtain superior MMI. Means here we want to interface DCS with PLC and computer. So at that time we are using main machine interface. The DCS on the other hand has an excellent color graphic display system in the form of an operator's station. Interface of PLC and DCS is necessary for sharing information. The PLC must provide the status of control devices to the DCS and the DCS must provide the PLC with control signal which will start or stop a particular motor or group of motor or open and close valve. So here we are using PLC and DCS through we can control our system. Then after next, integration can inform the operator requested action is inhibit and can advise the operator what preventing the action occurring. If the systems are very well integrated, the operator may be able to use the DCS NMI to query the PLC to determine which limit switches are preventing the requested action from taking place. The DCS can also be interfaced with the computer system. While most computers already have CRT based interfaces. Here we can use simple function key or touchscreen button for starting a computer program for advanced control. Then after, in main machine interface, first we have to discuss about sequencing. One of the most common reasons for providing a hybrid DCS PLC system is to take advantage of the PLC's superior sequences, interlocking capability, as well as the PLC's low cost and highly reliable digital input-output. PLC have been optimized for sequential control. Then after, the relay ladder style of programming is well suited for the task of interlocking a number of devices. For this reason, many users select to use the DCS for analog loop control. NMI and basic storage while using the PLC for sequential digital control. This presents the need for integration between the devices. So let's see one example. Often pumps are not started until certain temperatures or levels are reached. These heating, filling or other continuous throttling operations are monitored and controlled by the DCS as continuous control loop. Then the information exchange between PLC and the DCS is generally digital in nature, including on-off or open close status. Next is supervisory control. PLCs have superior sequencing capabilities. Computers are better suited for implementing advanced control. The primary means of programming in DCS system is block-oriented process control language. This block languages, there is only an assembly language. Program which interface with the microprocessor and used in the DCS. So here we have discussed about language, right? Which type of programming we are doing in DCS, okay? So we are doing in DCS block oriented process control language. Then after next, the use program in assembly language or too slow. The DCS processing now utilizing the massive block control program in the DCS. Because supervisor control is related to product change, product optimization or other less than real-time function. A general purpose computer will usually suffice. These devices are programmed in third generation languages such as Fortran or C, with fourth generation programming languages which resemble the English language. Take assigned for DCS and computer are shown in table. So in this table we have discussed task distribution between DCS and general purpose computer. So first, speed of request. In general purpose computer, speed of request, that is slow to fast, and in DCS, fast to very fast. Okay. Then type of control. So in general purpose computer, supervisory, optimizing and advanced, and in DCS, regulatory, advanced. So next example. So for general purpose computer, product change, grade change, energy optimization, value optimization, statistical quality control, statistical process control, set point change. So these are functions for general purpose computer. Thereafter in DCS, basic functions. Okay, so here we are discussing examples. So basic functions, that is flow, level, temperature, pressure, speed and product optimization. So this is task distribution between general purpose computer and DCS. Thank you for watching video. If you have any query in this session, then you can ask me.